Hello friends and welcome back. This is Jenny from Polly's Paper Studio. I'm excited to share with you another project in my 4-sheet challenge. Now, Authentique Paper has released a collection of calendar pages. There are 4 sheets for each month. They correspond with the holiday or the season, and I have been challenging myself to create a project using only the 4 sheets of the collection and some additional cardstock and some embellishments. So of course this month is March. We have a fun collection here with shamrocks and everything for St. Patrick's Day. Of course there are lots of cut aparts here with sentiments, even a large calendar piece, so if you're using this for a planner, that will make it easy for you to fill that in. There are companion patterns on the back as well, so when you get down to the images that you've used, you still have options on the back. As with this one, I'm using mostly the B side. I picked the images that I liked. This was like a vintage postcard, but mostly I'm using the additional patterns for this. The plaid, of course, is my favorite, and this has shamrocks on the back. And each month also has a solid, and this has 2 different shades of green, and I picked this one to coordinate. So for my project this month, I chose to make a loaded pocket, and I have previously created a loaded pocket with Authentique collection. If you want to see how I created the base, I'll link that in the description below. It's pretty easy. You just want to make sure to leave enough space in your pocket to accommodate the bulk of all of these layers. So you can see that it's about 1/2 inch wide here, so that you can really load in all the fun supplies. So for the front, I have used one of the sentiment cut aparts. I did a lot of borders matting with that solid green color, so all of these patterns do not look so busy, and it helps to separate all the layers. So I've used polka dots and plaids. Even this large strip that had the month written on it, I was able to utilize that as a separate green color, and that just has extra detail. I put the tag here with the shamrock. I fussy cut that from one of the images. Here's some coordinating trim and a button with twine. I put a few flowers here. I didn't really load it up too much on the front because this was a nice large sentiment and I didn't need to accent it too much. So inside the pocket, I have 3 inserts. Let me first mention too that I have finished the back of this with the plaid, and then I picked the shamrock pattern for the back. So everything has a nice finished look inside and out, even when the inserts are taken out. The first smallest, now remember when you have these in the pocket, you want to stagger all of these layers so you can enjoy seeing all of them at the same time. So I've gone from the smallest one, and also consider balancing your trims and accessories that you add. So I've got 2 bows here, and I've got 2 additional clusters of detail so that everything is very balanced. For my inserts, I went ahead and used one of the vintage cut apart images. This one already had a border on it, and so I took advantage of that and used that to frame that vintage image. So this has a 4x4 cut apart. I clipped it down just a little bit so that I could put it on a 4x4 folded insert. So that's just regular 65 pound weight cardstock, and I cut that into a card shape so that I could use the 4x4 pattern to cover all of the surface area. For this one, I've also included a small tuck spot and a die cut picture frame. So I'll just demonstrate here. You can easily tuck your picture in behind that sentiment so that you get a good, nice finished look at the end that's layered, or you could substitute this portion and write on there. So put your journaling and add your memories that go with the pictures, and then add your picture to this side. So I was able to get all of the surfaces covered with, I went down to the scrap when I was doing this, and so this one I did have to join. Otherwise, I was able to use the full patterns without having to layer them too much. I'm not sure if you can see that as well, but I did accent some of those details with stickles, so it just has a little bit of glitter and a little bit of shine. For the larger folded insert, I really love this image, one of my favorite holiday images for St. Patrick's Day. I wanted to keep the image whole, and then I just put some of the details around it. So this insert now is going to be 4x6 because that's the size of the journal card. I did put matting on this one because it had no border, so I wanted to make sure that it had a nice crisp finished edge. I put a couple of the stamps that were one of the cutter parts on here. One of them is just clipped on in case it needs to be removed to add pictures or details on the inside. And then here's one of the smaller sentiments, and I just put that with foam spacers over this small collection with the die cut shamrocks. So this beautiful girl also has some stickling details on her shamrock crown, and then like I mentioned, you can pull this off and move it around as you need to so that you can fill that in with your pictures and journaling. So like on the other insert, I've got a tuck spot here. You can put your pictures in behind or use this for your journaling. And then there's also a pocket page here as well, and one of the cut aparts had a beautiful Irish sentiment, so I kept that on, and you can add your picture to the back. There's a little bit of room here in this pocket as well for additional flat mementos or keepsakes, and the back is finished with the coordinating paper that was the B-side of the vintage images. For my last tag, I made this base. It has a double layer of 110-pound cardstock. It's very sturdy and thick, and I took some of the blockier sentiments and created like a row of them in the middle. So it's just a graphic sort of blocky sentiments down the center. I put a row of plaid at the bottom just so that it would have a little extra interest. And then here's that bow that I mentioned previously, has a couple of shamrock details and a twine bow with a button. And then the back side will be perfect for larger pictures. There's plenty of room for a 4x6 image right there on the back. So you can imagine using this as a non-traditional style scrapbook. Just fill that up with lots of pictures and memories and display it with your favorite seasonal decor, or better yet, fill this in and gift it to someone special with lots of holiday memories. So if you're interested in knowing what was left of the 4 sheets when I had this project finished, this is all that remains of that. I was able to use all of the pattern paper right down to these little slivers, and then also there's just a couple of the sentiments left in the image, but otherwise I used all of it for this project. So definitely got a lot of use out of it. You just have to be very careful when you're doing your cutting that you conserve as much of it each time as possible, because you don't know what you're going to need for the next step. So use it very cautiously and you'll be able to get a full-size project out of these 4 sheets. If you want to check out that collection, that's the calendar collection from Authentique Paper. I'll drop a link in the description for that. And then you can also find one there for the tutorial on how to create this sturdy pocket base. You can also find links to all our social media sites there as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.